When it comes to online food content, there is a lot to see. Many different people have made content based around the universal human interest of food. This content is created by people ranging from professional chefs to home cooks, and this topic has been prevalent on YouTube since its inception, and many different people have engaged in it. Hannah Hart, one of the giants of early YouTube, started her channel with the series My Drunk Kitchen, and there's other examples such as Epic Mealtime, My Virgin Kitchen, Rosanna Pansino, Sorted Food, and Joshua Weissman that have all appeared over the years that YouTube has been active. But today we're going to focus on 3 examples of different cooking channels, and how they efficiently deliver their content, how consistent the content on their channel is, and the style that they use.
Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling, tossed salads and scrambled eggs.
First off, we're starting with Binging with Babish. Binging with Babish was a channel and series created on the 10th of February 2016, with the consistent idea of making food which features in different popular media, hosted by Andrew Ray, a filmmaker and cook, under his alias Oliver Babish. Binging with Babish has featured food from films such as Chef and The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and from TV shows such as South Park, until he eventually branched out to video games such as The Legend of Zelda: The Breath of the Wild. Andrew was an appropriate host for this content. He consistently provided clear and entertaining narration over the top of footage of him preparing the meal. He acted as an unintrusive host, which allowed the food and its connection to people's favourite media to take the forefront of the content. The channel mostly featured the self-titled series, with a few extra videos such as how to reverse sear a steak and how to make a croque madame, up until the introduction of a new regular series, Basics with Babish. Basics with Babish used a slightly more conventional style of food content. These videos worked on an extension of Binging with Babish, as much of the cooking featured in the regular videos can be seen as too complicated for an inexperienced chef, where Basics with Babish, as you can imagine, is focusing on the basics of cooking and how to develop your skills. However, in my personal opinion, this expansion of his channel into different types of content damaged the consistency of it. Throughout the existence of Andrew's channel, it's steadily become more and more diversified in terms of the content he creates. He created several new series such as Being with Babish, a series which branches away from food content to focus on Andrew himself and some philanthropy work he engages in. Anime of Alvin, a different series focusing on food from anime, hosted by Alvin Zhao instead of Andrew. Stump Solar, a show where another chef, Solar, engages in various food-based challenges. Whilst many people could see this as a good thing, with much of this content receiving millions of views, in my opinion it makes the channel less focused. These new series, especially those featuring different hosts, could have been placed on separate channels. However, instead of doing this, in 2020 Binging with Babish became the Babish Culinary Universe, which meant those who originally subscribed to him for the original series and his style of hosting would now have various people's cooking shows showing up on their subscription feed. In a sense, the Babish Culinary Universe is less audience friendly, as it floods their subscription feeds with content they don't want to watch and has diverged heavily from the initial idea of the channel. However, for many people, simply a large amount of content is fine, and they will find it entertaining despite it no longer being the same consistent content with the same host. I feel like this might be a personal problem with me and a few other people, where they prefer to have a consistent style of content on the channel they subscribe for, and only really to see the content they want to see. I believe that I've stopped watching Binging with Babish quite as much because of the overcrowding on my subscription box, meaning that I can't find the original content I subscribed for. Next I'm going to cover Internet Shaquille. Internet Shaquille is a YouTube channel ran by Victor Nevarez, a channel with 560,000 subscribers at the time of writing the script of this video, which is admittedly much less than Binging with Babish, a channel that boasts 10 million subscribers. However, in my opinion, Internet Shaquille provides more entertaining, interesting, and most important in the context of the video, efficient content. None of Internet Shaquille's videos break past the 10-minute mark, with many of them sitting under 5 minutes. Each of the videos has a goal to achieve and attempts to achieve it as efficiently as possible, but still maintains a level of humour and entertainment to further keep the audience involved. For example, Internet Shaquille has a video called Stop Throwing Away Shrimp Shells, a 4-minute long video in which he demonstrates the use for a piece of food that otherwise would have been destined for the rubbish bin. In the 4-minute long video, he describes how to best make a stock from the shells of shrimp, or prawns as we call them in the UK, and also describes a few uses for this stock. In 4 minutes, he efficiently teaches his audience a new skill, a way to save money, and get more value for their money. Whilst this is without a doubt a different style to Babish's approach, preferring to let the food speak for itself rather than introducing the pop culture element prevalent in Binging with Babish, Internet Shaquille still has a greater interest in efficiency than Babish. Victor also doesn't have an issue of over-diversification of his content. Because he didn't establish a specific format in content, he just delivers helpful tips and tricks in his own way. The expectation of the audience is created, and he can keep up consistent content that fits within it, simply by delivering useful information in his own unique style. Victor's videos don't waste his audience's time in any way. Cooking videos can sometimes be over-detailed and too focused on the process, but in my opinion he delivers helpful tips and keeps within his niche, and consistently provides the content his viewers originally subscribed for. My third and final example is Sorted Food. This is a channel that started on the 20th of May 2010 by founders Ben Ebrel, Jamie Spafford, Michael Huttlestone and Barry Taylor. It started as a way to share easy to cook food. It eventually became much less focused on the food education style of the content and more focused on the personality of the founders and the challenges they were set. You could say that to a certain extent this follows the same idea that Binging with Babish did, where they changed their content. However, this was done gradually over time, rather than introducing different series and different hosts. They used their personalities that had already had a large prevalence in the previous education-based content and kept the dynamic consistent throughout their whole existence. They still provide a certain level of education in their content by still talking about how to best make the recipes. As Ben Ebrel is a professionally trained chef who knows a lot about food, he can deliver this information on the fly, while still engaging in the personality-driven content Sorted Food has become known for. An example of this is the Pass It On series, where despite a 10-minute time limit for Ben's contribution, he is still able to deliver insights about the food he's making.
Tartar sauce, really nice accompaniment to fish because it cuts through. You need the vinegar.
This allows them to lean more into the content that the audience wants them to see, which are their long-time friendship dynamics, while also engaging them using the food they make on the show and educating them on said food. The videos generally run longer than the previous examples, but because of the less educational style, and the fact that their videos are more comparable to that of a game show most of the time, and the fact they've got a larger cast of hosts, this is much more easily acceptable than long-form educational content, which can tend to bore audience if it isn't delivered efficiently and creatively. Each of the regular hosts have their own reoccurring jokes and personalities, which allows the audience to stay loyal to the content. Jamie is pictured as a chef who nearly always utilises meat in big portions. Barry is pictured as a somewhat pretentious home chef who enjoys premium products and is very interested in breaking boundaries, experimenting with different food combinations and plating styles. Mike is somewhat described as a somewhat unorganised chef, perhaps the picky eater of the group, and has a trademark phrase associated with him, Huttlestorm, to describe his panic cooking style. These reoccurring personalities and jokes allow them to keep consistency despite their varied content, and lends itself to a somewhat casual branding they have for themselves. However, they also have the backing of a professionally trained chef Ben, which allows them to have proper credibility for education, despite the somewhat comedic, entertainment-based content that makes up most of the videos they now put out. Overall, I believe that each of these channels have their strengths, but some of the decisions in terms of diversification of content can lead to a channel that lacks consistency. However, I still enjoy all these channels' content. I just have opinion based on the way some of the information delivers and the consistency of the channel's content. Overall, this is just one man's opinion, but hopefully I shared some interesting insight with you into my thoughts about food content. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.